Hey, what's up, everybody? This is BNJ Productions. I'm Jacob, and this is Abby filling in for Brandon. Brandon's gone for today, but she's just gonna step in and try to do her best. May not know the most about football and stuff, but we're doing our Week 3 picks, and Abby is the guest speaker. Starting off with our college games, we've got the Texas A&M Aggies number 22 versus Alabama number 1. Alabama is a 26-point favorite. It's in Tuscaloosa. And yeah, Jimbo Fisher, he's the coach for A&M and should bring a little more confidence to him. But Alabama with Tua and as the quarterback, and with the only good quarterback in Alabama history, basically, I don't think A&M's going to really have a chance. And that hurts me to say, but I think Alabama's going to win this pretty big. Abby?
Yeah, I think so too. I'll agree with that one right there.
Okay. Up next, two in Texas teams with number 17 TCU at Texas. TCU is a 3-point favorite after a close loss against Ohio State last week. Proved a lot of things, but still didn't get it done. Texas won against USC pretty easily, and I think, as much as I hate to say it, I think Texas can get the upset here, maybe, especially since it's at home, and TCU might be a little young, but Texas, I think, maybe can get it done. Don't count me on this, but I really hope it's not the case, but I think they can. Abby?
Actually, I feel like this is going to be a really good game. I honestly think TCU has this in the bag.
Okay, yeah, that's good. Up next, Texas Tech versus Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State is a 14-point favorite. They won last week against Boise State, another ranked team, and it's going to be a pretty easy game for Oklahoma State as Texas Tech with their young quarterback. But Bowman from same place Patrick Mahomes was from. We'll talk about him in a little bit, but I think Oklahoma State's got this one pretty easily, but Texas Tech is going to have a really decent game, better than the Ole Miss game, but I think it's going to be Oklahoma State's going to be good in this one and going to hand it to Texas Tech.
And as much as I like Tech, I'm just going to have to go for Oklahoma.
Okay, and up next in college game day, game of the week, number 7 Stanford at number 20 Oregon, and it's been a while since game day has been in Oregon, since the days of a lot of good players back then. They haven't been good since Chip Kelly left, but they're finally getting up there, and Stanford is a 2-point favorite, but I think with Bryce Love and a lot of the other talents in Stanford, it's going to be a pretty easy win for Stanford, but Oregon is going to keep it close, and I think it'll be a good game there. Okay, and up next is number 14 Mississippi State versus Kentucky. Kentucky's 3-0 right now. Got a big win against Florida 2 weeks ago. Pretty easy win too, and Kentucky shocked a lot of people there. Mississippi State's been good with Nick Fitzgerald, probably one of the best quarterbacks in the SEC. They're ranked number 14, like I said. They're a pretty good team, and I think Kentucky's going to try and keep it close, but I think Mississippi State with Nick Fitzgerald is going to be good and going to get a pretty big win here. Kentucky.
I think so too. I agree with that.
Up next, number 12 West Virginia versus Kansas State. Bill Snyder and Kansas State have only lost one game. West Virginia is a 16-point favorite. Will Grier getting a lot of Heisman buzz, and I think this is going to be a blowout here for West Virginia, even though they're at Kansas State. It's going to be a pretty tough matchup for Kansas State, but if somehow they can pull it off, props to them. But I think West Virginia is going to win in a big game.
You know, this game I feel like is going to be probably one of the best games, and I think Kansas State is going to.
Okay, up next, number 18 Wisconsin versus Iowa. Wisconsin had a big loss last week against BYU. Not a big one, they lost by 3, but Wisconsin a 3-point favorite. Iowa undefeated last year or a couple years ago. They had a undefeated season until they met Wisconsin in the Big Ten Championship, and I think this is going to be a big game. I'm going to say Iowa has a chance to pull it off, even with Jonathan Taylor for Wisconsin getting a lot of Heisman buzz too. I think Wisconsin isn't as good. Like Brandon said a couple videos back, Wisconsin is severely overrated, and I think Iowa is going to get this win here.
See, I don't know about that. I'm just going to have to go.
Our last college game, number 8 Notre Dame versus Wake Forest. Notre Dame is a 7-point favorite. They barely won last week against Vanderbilt, a decent Vanderbilt team. Wake Forest has a lot of high-powered offenses, and Notre Dame's a little slow on that side of the ball. Their defense is going to carry them. But, I mean, I think Wake Forest, if their offense can strive and do what they've done in the past couple weeks, then it's going to be a good game, and I think Wake Forest is going to get it because it's Notre Dame's first road game, and they've struggled a little bit at home. Okay. Gonna think a tie over there from Abby. Okay, starting off for the NFL games, a Thursday night football game, the New York Jets versus the Cleveland Browns. The Browns haven't won a game, but they've only lost one too with the tie against Pittsburgh week 1. Jets are 1-1 here. They beat the Lions on a Monday Night Football week 1. Cleveland is a 3-point favorite, and I think Cleveland's going to get their first win in about 2 years this week. I mean, Sam Darnold's a young quarterback, but I think Tyrod Taylor is a little more experienced, and the defense for the Browns have the most turnovers forced in the NFL, and I think they're going to have a lot of trouble. The Jets are going to have a lot of trouble against the Browns.
With that statement.
Okay. Brandon. Okay, up next, the Saints and the Falcons, both teams 1-1. Atlanta is a 3-point favorite, and Atlanta had a big game against Carolina last week and won. The Saints won their first week. Or no, they lost their first week against the Buccaneers and won last week against the Redskins. And the Falcons already have a win in the division, and I think Matt Ryan and the Falcons are going to take it to the Saints. Saints are kind of struggling so far this year. They might get a win, but maybe that just says something about the Browns, and maybe they're semi-decent this year. So I'm going to have to say the Falcons here.
I have to agree with you in that one.
Okay. Up next, the Packers versus the Redskins. Aaron Rodgers has been hurt the past 2 weeks. They're a 3-point favorite. The Redskins, Alex Smith, lost against the Saints last week. Had a really good week 1, and people were kind of shocked by that. And I think Aaron Rodgers gets it done even with his one knee working. And I think he's going to be incredible because he's done some amazing things, especially last week against the Bears when they tied. Up next, 2 0-2 teams, the Giants and the Texans. Both teams had really high expectations coming into the year. One team's going to have a easy win, or one team's going to have a win, and the other one's going to be struggling to dig themselves out of a hole of a 0-3 team. And Houston's the 6-point favorite. Sean Watson struggled a little bit. Saquon Barkley's been doing good, so I got to go with the Giants here with Saquon Barkley. And if Eli Manning can get the ball to Odell Moore and Saquon, and the Giants' offensive line isn't as bad as they were last week against the Cowboys, I think they can get it done. But if J.J. Watt and Jadeveon Clowney can get to Eli Manning, it's going to be easily a shutout, I think. So it could go either way.
Yeah.
Okay. Up next is the 49ers and the Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes has 10 touchdowns in the first 2 weeks, the most by any quarterback ever, and kind of tore up the Steelers last week. And the 49ers had a pretty good win against the Lions. And Jimmy Garoppolo and his first win from a first loss in week 1. And Kansas City is a 6.5 favorite, and I think Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs get it done really easy this week. 49ers are still learning. Jimmy Garoppolo needs to learn how to lose, and it's going to be a pretty big victory, I think, for the Chiefs.
Yep, agree.
Okay, and up next, the Cowboys and the Seahawks, 2 teams that are I think the Seahawks are 0-2. Cowboys 1-1, Seahawks 0-2. Seattle is a 1.5-point favorite, and the Cowboys got things done last week against the Giants. Their defensive line did incredible. Zeke ran for a touchdown. Dak did way better, accepted the challenge Landon Collins gave him, and saying the Cowboys were awful on that side of the ball. And I think the Cowboys can get it done. Legion of Boom is no longer a thing anymore because the Seahawks are just a bunch of scrubs on defense, and it's going to be pretty. I think the Cowboys can get it taken care of.
The Cowboys are going to win this one.
Okay. Up next is Sunday Night Football between the New England Patriots and the Detroit Lions. The Lions are not very good, and the Patriots are going to be big favorites in this one. For some reason, I have Chicago to win negative 5.5 points, but Chicago's not even playing in this game, so pretty sure the Patriots are big favorites, even though they're in Detroit, and Tom Brady and the Pats are going to get it done. Traded for Josh Gordon this week, and Josh Gordon's going to be an incredible add to the Patriots, and they're finally got a pretty quality receiver for this year to help Tom Brady in his quest for another championship before he retires. I think the Patriots are going to win big here.
Yeah, the Patriots have it.
In a Monday Night Football game between the 0-1-1 Steelers and the 2-0 Buccaneers, Ryan Fitzpatrick has been incredible the first 2 weeks, stepping in for Jameis Winston and his suspension. I'm pretty sure he has the job taken from Jameis Winston now, especially if he has a big win against the Steelers, which I think they will, because the Pittsburgh defense is absolutely terrible. They can't get anything done. If it wasn't for Big Ben, this team would be 0-16. But I think the Buccaneers win here, prove that Ryan Fitzpatrick deserves this starting job, and it's going to be incredible to see how well the Buccaneers play. Yeah. Okay, and that's all the games we have this week. We will see you next week on Monday, and we'll talk about all the things that happened this weekend, and we will see you next week.